Hey, so we're here in beautiful St. Catharines, Ontario, one of my favorite places to work, as everybody wills to know. But I gotta be honest with you, this job right here, by far and away the most successful St. Catharines project we had done yet. Very interesting story behind this property. This customer actually picked this place up in 2017, so we both know how that's gone for him. He actually had tried to attempt to do the work himself. The guy's a contractor, great guy, just ran out of time. So we're here in 2022 and we just finally wrapped this place up for him. This is a very cool example of what you can do with the property, but there's some things that we had to worry about here. This right here is actually zoned R2, and R2 in St. Catharines usually means you can do a full duplex, full square footage of the basement suite. But the problem is, because of a lot size restriction, he had to build this place R1, which is considered a legal second suite, which has some restrictions, actually has quite a few restrictions. And this is called a legal second suite in St. Catharines. This had to be a maximum of 645 square feet, so there's some layout challenges he had to deal with. Now, this is a raised bungalow, so as you can see behind me, we got great natural light in this basement. We're gonna do a really cool walk around tour. We have a perfect situation for how he set up the utilities for this place. He did some additional upgrades to try to improve, sound. He did a really great job, as I said, with utilities. We used a really cool heating system here. And you know what? There's nothing crazy fancy here, but this is a great system where you make sure you don't skimp what's behind the walls. It's beautiful. We're gonna show you around, and thanks for being here. Now, this property right here, as you said before, was purchased in 2017. It's appreciated like crazy. And the renovation cost on this one was $155,000. Now, he had done the demo except for about half of it. He had supplied a couple of the materials, and the upstairs is already renovated in the past. So this is strictly converting this basement suite here. Now, St. Catharines typically is one of the more difficult places to do this, and you really got to do your due diligence on the zoning and doing the permitting. Now, the guy who did the permit on this one's one of the best in the business. He knows what he's doing, but again, there's still challenges. So let's take you around, and as we're standing in the living room here, as you see the light behind me, first thing we're going to start with is we're going to go to the utility room where all the magic happened in this place. So now in here, we have a lot going on. We have a forced air system. We have an Hrv for the ductless split system. We have multiple tankless hot water tanks. We have an electrical panel for the downstairs unit, and we have multiple hot water meters for the downstairs, for both units. This gentleman particularly separated utilities completely. So we have a forced air system for the upstairs with ductwork. Downstairs is run on a ductless mini split system with supplementary baseboard heat. We have a hot water tank for each unit, tankless. They're never gonna run out of water in this place. We have separate gas meters. We have separate hydro meters. We have separate water meters. It is set up almost perfect. We're gonna go this way right here, and we're gonna see this little bad boy right here. Now, this is for the Hrv system, heat recovery ventilator, but what you see here actually circulates the air in this place, but because this is a fire separated zone, there's actually a fire damper here, and there's a fire damper between this little weird bulkhead to run the ductwork. Fire dampers are a little bit of a challenge. They have to be installed in a certain way by certified people, and they have to be inspected separately. What you see right here is the control for the Hrv system. To be honest with you, tenants aren't going to control this much. But what the Hrv does is it actually brings fresh air in from the outside, heats it and circulates it, so the air doesn't get stagnant because the ductless split system recircles the air. So if we go ahead this way, we're going to go to the kitchen. Now, we were dealing with a tight spot for this kitchen right here. So everybody can say hi to Emily. So we're doing this tiny little kitchen here, not a lot of space, but it actually fit the room perfectly. For a tiny little kitchen, it's actually got really decent counter space, and it's nothing fancy, it's simple, it's great for tenants, durable materials. We got nice new appliances. These are one of my favorite newer inventions out in the market. These are the mini over-the-range microwaves. We have to maintain 16 to 18 inches of clearance from the heat source to the bottom of the cabinet, so if we would have used a full-size microwave, we wouldn't have made the clearance, or we would have had to eliminate the cabinet, which would have looked really silly. So this is a great solution. This is your exhaust fan. This is a mini microwave. Now it frees up the counter space, and I love them. Right here, we actually have two entries to this unit. This is the main entry. This is a shared entrance. So this is a metal fire door. Actually, you didn't actually have to use metal here, but the customer decided to do it because he put this in before we started the renovation. And so basically this is a shared unit. This is fire rated separately. Now, because this is an R1 and we had to limit floor space, we actually have a second entrance out the back that is in the common space. So when you basically have to chew up square footage, we have to install a common space. So the second bedroom, if you want to call it, is actually an unfinished storage room that, you know what, he can make the decision after the permit's closed if he wants to use it as a bedroom or not, but legal purposes, it's not a second bedroom. Over here, we have this nice bathroom. He actually went really above and beyond in this space. Behind these walls is a Schluter waterproofing system, which is a high-end, top-of-the-line water system. He didn't want to cheap out on anything. The customer picked his own finishes on this one, so he picked his own style. Beautiful vanity tiled floors, nice fancy tiled shower surround. What you'll probably notice here is we don't have pot lights going on, and a lot of times we use pot lights, but the problem is in St. Catharines are very strict on their fire separation. So if you put pot lights in the ceiling, it breaks the fire separation, and you would have had to spend $100 a piece putting these drywall fireproof boxes or the metal fireproof boxes, and sometimes it's just not worth the squeeze. Other cities are a little more loose on the rules on what they consider for fixtures. On a personal note, the metal boxes that penetrate the drywall have the same amount of holes as a pot light, but that's the rules in this city. As we head down here, this is the primary bedroom for this unit. As you can see, it's clean, it's warm, it's got its own ductless mini split right here, so it's going to have all the heating and cooling it wants. Above us right here, we have an interconnected smoke detector system. These are the strobe ones. So in bedrooms, we use 2-in-1s, which are basically smoke and strobe in one. Out in the common spaces, we use 3-in-1s, which are smoke, strobe, and carbon monoxide detectors in one. Pro tip, buy a plug-in carbon monoxide detector. Carbon monoxide is a low rising gas, so I've always had this debate and disagreed with putting carbon monoxide detectors in the ceiling. I think you're safer with the ones on the ground because the gas is going to start from the ground and move its way up. Carbon monoxide is also a silent gas, so if we have a low rising carbon monoxide gas, by the time it gets up there, you're going to be dead, and I don't recommend that. So get the unit a plug-in carbon monoxide detector. As you can tell right here, we have beautiful windows in this place because it's a raised bungalow. Whenever you have windows, it doesn't make it feel like a basement suite. You're going to get better tenants, and it's going to feel like you're above ground, going to get you better rent. When it comes to doing fixtures and finishes for a rental, especially on a new construction legal second suite, use better quality materials than just buying the cheap and cheerful MDF from Home Depot or places like that. Wood trim doesn't absorb water as much, it's stronger, it takes damage, things like that. Using things like a brand name door handle and hinges will keep you from dealing with maintenance in the future. If you come on in here, you'll notice here we have double opening doors. You'll see a lot of times you got the bifolds, correct? Well, the problem with the bifolds, as we both know, they all falls off. Well, with your own house, you can fix it easier. When you're dealing with tenants, you have to send somebody to fix those. So whenever possible, I avoid bifold doors. These are going to be basically the same strength and durability as a normal door. It's going to last a lot longer. You're going to have a lot less problems. Sometimes you'll see the sliding doors, sometimes you'll see the bifold doors, but either or, they're based on a track system, and if they ever get docked or damaged, they're going to fall off and you're going to get a lot of calls about it. The only thing to consider, obviously, is if you have a really tight room and you don't have room for the swing outdoors, okay, well then, that's a different conversation, but whenever possible, avoid that. Now, down the hallway here, right here is the customer has decided to take this door off. This was a fire door because this right here is supposed to be additional space. He chose to add the space, his choice. Here's our second bedroom right here. This is the smaller one. Again, great natural light. And as you come down here, this is our entrance directly for the backyard. So this house came with a separate entrance. It's awesome. Now this gives them the flexibility in which door they want to use. We replaced all the doors with a nice steel with natural light. Makes it feel great. Wiser handles. If you look over here, because this is a hallway, in St. Catharines, we're going to require emergency lighting. So basically what happens, the power goes on, these bad boys kick on, so that no one's not coming in the dark. As we go back this way, we're going back towards the other hallway here. And if you turn around here, you can see all the space we have for a living room, dining room space. And this is why when you're designing these places, a lot of people try to squeeze as many bedrooms as they can. But if we would have done that here in this 645 square feet space, this would have been half size and you'd have a dining room, living room the size of this. When you're dealing with 645 square units, I always recommend a larger 1-bedroom with a nice living room, dining room, because otherwise you're going to feel like you're living in a shoebox, things like that. Now, we've got lots of situations we could talk about here. As you can see, we got this column right here, which we decorated kind of prettily. There is a support column in here that supports the steel beam. Some customers will try to actually remove these and put a steel beam in. So it's like, is a juice worth the squeeze? This would have been probably a $7,000 project to take this out. Was it worth it here? I mean, it would have been cool, but I mean, this is already, you know, conversions are not a cheap process. So you got to look at what's your best advantages here. When we come back, we're going to go to the outside and show you that.